Welcome to the History Stories podcast. Today we're going on a historic road trip
Sounds exciting.
to the arid plains of southern Peru,
Ooh, cool.
explore one of the world's most captivating enigmas, the Nazca Lines.
The Nazca Lines, yeah, I've heard of those.
You shared some fascinating material with us, history books and uncovered sources.
Lots of good stuff.
And we've sifted through it all to bring you the most intriguing insights into these colossal geoglyphs.
I'm ready.
Think of this as your personal guided tour through the whispers etched into the desert sand.
Okay.
We'll look at how these massive figures were discovered,
Right.
the culture that created them,
Gotcha.
the leading theories surrounding their purpose,
Uh-huh.
and even their surprising presence in modern culture.
Cool. Yeah.
Our mission is to give you a clear and engaging understanding of this incredible historical puzzle without overwhelming you with academic jargon.
Great.
So buckle up, because here's where it gets really interesting.
All right, I'm buckled.
So kicking off our historic road trip, let's journey back to the early whispers of these lines.
Right back to the beginning.
It might surprise you to learn that hints of the Nazca Lines were actually around for centuries before anyone truly grasped their monumental scale from above.
Yeah, I mean, how would they, right, before planes?
Right.
How could you even tell?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And
When you just see, like, lines on the ground, you
Yeah.
would know it's a giant spider or whatever.
Well, it actually goes even further back than that.
Okay.
As far back as the mid-16th century,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Spanish chroniclers like
Now we're talking old school.
Pedro Cieza de Leon in 1553,
I should have known.
and later Luis Monzon in 1569,
Okay.
mentioned seeing markings in the Nazca Desert.
Mm-mm.
Leon described them almost like trail markers,
Oh, interesting.
and Monzon reported ancient ruins with what seemed like roads.
Wow, so they were already, like, noticing stuff back then.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What's fascinating here is that it suggests the lines might have had a different kind of visibility.
Right.
Or perhaps served a more ground-level function in the past.
Wow.
Compared to our modern understanding of their huge aerial designs.
Yeah, totally different perspective.
It makes you wonder what those early observers truly made of these sprawling marks on the landscape.
It really does, yeah.
It really does fire up the imagination.
Like, imagine seeing that and not knowing what it is.
Right, yeah.
Just like, weird lines.
But the moment the world truly grasped the sheer scale and intricate artistry of these things came much later, didn't it?
Yeah, it had to, right?
Yeah.
Had to wait for the technology.
Yeah.
Or for someone to, like, climb a really, really tall ladder.
Maybe.
I don't know. But, yeah, it was much later.
It wasn't until the 20th century,
Makes sense.
with the development of aviation,
Of course.
that the Nazca Lines truly revealed their complex designs and immense size.
Yeah, you need that bird's eye view.
Peruvian military and civilian pilots flying over the region were the first to report these strange lines.
From up there, it must have been mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to suddenly see these, like, perfect shapes
from a bird's eye view.
out of nowhere, basically.
But this aerial perspective was absolutely key.
Yeah.
From the ground, you might just see grooves
Right. Just random lines.
and not realize they coalesce into a massive hummingbird.
Yeah. Or a monkey.
Or an intricate monkey figure.
Or like a weird geometric pattern. Who knows?
It was only from above that these animal, plant, and geometric shapes spread across approximately 50 square kilometers.
50 square kilometers. That's huge.
Became strikingly apparent.
It must have been incredible for those pilots to be the first to see that.
It must have been a truly awe-inspiring moment for those early pilots, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah.
A truly breathtaking discovery from the skies.
Yeah, a real game changer.
And it wasn't long before scholars on the ground started to take notice of these aerial revelations, right?
Right, word got around to it. So people started talking.
The initial scholarly recognition came in 1927 when Peruvian archaeologist Toribio Mejia SS spotted some of the lines while he was hiking in the foothills.
So someone on the ground actually saw them.
He documented what he observed.
Good.
And later presented his findings at a conference in Lima in 1939.
Smart move. Get the word out.
This was an important first step in bringing academic attention to the geoglyphs.
Even if they didn't, like, totally get it yet.
Even if the full scope wasn't yet realized.
Right, exactly.
But it was really the work of an American historian that propelled the serious, in-depth study of the Nazca Lines, wasn't it?
I think I know what you're going to say.
Our next stop on this historic road trip takes us to the groundbreaking research of Paul Kosok.
Yeah, Paul Kosok, he's like the Nazca Lines guy, like the OG researcher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Paul Kosok's work in 1940 and 1941 was pivotal.
Pivotal, yeah.
He was actually in Peru researching ancient irrigation systems.
So not even looking for the lines at first.
No, he was researching something else when he took to the skies and flew over the Nazca Lines.
And just happened to see them.
He famously observed one
Yeah.
that was clearly in the shape of a bird.
A bird. Okay.
What's fascinating here is that he also noticed that some of the lines seemed to align with the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere.
Oh, interesting. So like an astronomical connection?
This observation led him to his initial and very influential theory that the lines had an astronomical purpose.
Makes sense if they're aligned with the solstice.
And it's where his famous quote, "The largest astronomy book in the world," originates.
The largest astronomy book in the world. That's a great quote.
It is.
It's very evocative.
This suggests a sophisticated understanding of celestial cycles.
Right, yeah.
And potentially highlights the importance of these events in their agricultural or ritual calendar.
So it wasn't just like random lines.
Right.
They had meaning.
Imagine their entire year being structured around these observations inscribed on the very landscape.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
That's a powerful image indeed, the very earth telling a celestial story.
It's beautiful in a way.
And then, of course, no discussion of the Nazca Lines is complete without acknowledging the iconic figure of Maria Reiche.
Maria Reiche, the Lady of the Lines. She's like a legend.
The study and preservation of the Nazca Lines are deeply intertwined with Maria Reiche.
Yeah, she dedicated her life to them.
A German mathematician and archaeologist.
I didn't know she was a mathematician.
She joined Kosok in his work.
Oh, okay.
And dedicated over 4 decades of her life to these geoglyphs.
That's dedication.
Known as the Lady of the Lines.
A well-deserved title.
She meticulously mapped, cleaned, and studied them.
Wow, what a job.
She passionately supported and expanded upon the astronomical and calendrical significance theory.
So she believed in that astronomical connection.
Even suggesting that the animal figures might correspond to constellations.
Interesting. Like each animal is a different constellation.
Her decades of meticulous work not only unveiled the scale and complexity of the lines,
Right.
but also paved the way for a deeper understanding of the people who created them.
It's like she brought them to life, in a way.
Her tireless efforts were absolutely crucial in bringing sustained international attention to the Nazca Lines.
Yeah, she put them on the map, literally and figuratively.
And ultimately led to their well-deserved designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994.
Good for her. It's like her legacy.
Her dedication to this ancient puzzle is truly inspiring.
Yeah, she's an inspiration to, like, anyone who's passionate about history.
It truly is.
I mean, spending that much time in the desert.
Spending that much time in the desert, piecing together this ancient puzzle.
Piecing it all together.
So now that we've charted the course of their discovery and the key figures involved,
Right.
let's turn our attention to the people who created them. The Nazca culture itself.
The people behind the lines, yeah.
When and where did they flourish on our historic road trip?
Well, the Nazca culture, they thrived in the arid coastal region of southern Peru.
Okay.
Specifically in the river valleys of the Rio Grande de Nazca and the Ica Valley.
Gotcha.
Their period of flourishing was roughly between 500 BC and 500 AD.
That's a long time.
It is a pretty significant chunk of time.
And
What's interesting is they weren't the first to create geoglyphs in this area. The preceding Paracas culture, which existed from around 900 BC to 400 AD,
okay, so even earlier.
also created markings on the land.
So they were building on something that was already there.
Exactly. It wasn't like they just came up with this out of the blue.
So it wasn't a completely new invention by the Nazca people.
Right. More like a continuation of an existing tradition.
There were precedents.
Yeah. They took it to a whole new level, though.
It did.
I mean, the scale and complexity of the Nazca Lines is just mind-blowing.
What do we know about how their society was structured and what their beliefs were?
Well, Nazca society wasn't one unified empire,
Oh.
but rather a collection of independent chiefdoms.
So like little kingdoms almost.
Yeah, think of them as distinct political units, each with its own leadership,
Yeah.
but likely sharing cultural and religious practices.
Makes sense.
It was a hierarchical society with influential priests and military leaders holding significant power.
So a pretty typical structure for the time.
Yeah, you see that in a lot of ancient cultures.
Their religious beliefs were deeply rooted in the natural world.
Which makes sense, given their environment.
Right, they were living in a pretty harsh desert.
Exactly. So they would have been very aware of the power of nature.
They worshipped nature gods associated with essential elements like the sea, sky, earth, fire, and water.
All the basic elements, yeah.
Agriculture and fertility were central to their lives and beliefs.
They needed those things to survive.
And it's likely that shamans played a key role in their religious practices.
Shamans, yeah, like spiritual guides.
Perhaps acting as intermediaries between the human and spiritual realms.
Bridging the gap between the two worlds.
This paints a picture of a society deeply connected to their environment and their spiritual beliefs.
It does, yeah.
And despite living in such an arid region, they were quite technologically advanced, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Their resourcefulness seems remarkable.
They were incredibly resourceful considering the challenges they faced.
Right.
They developed this impressive system of underground aqueducts called puquios.
Puquios.
Yeah, it's like Puquios.
Gotcha.
To tap into subterranean water sources.
So they were finding water underground.
And using it to sustain agriculture in their dry climate.
Smart.
It's pretty ingenious when you think about it.
This demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of hydrology.
They knew what they were doing, that's for sure.
They were also highly skilled artisans, renowned for their vibrant polychrome pottery and intricate textiles.
Oh, yeah. Their art was incredible.
What's particularly interesting is that the motifs found on their pottery and textiles
So, like, the patterns and designs.
often bear a striking resemblance to the designs of the Nazca Lines themselves.
So, like, the same symbols on their pots and on the ground.
This strongly hints at a cohesive worldview,
Right, like a connection between their art and their beliefs.
where these symbols held deep, interconnected meaning,
It wasn't just decoration, it was something more.
perhaps representing deities, mythical narratives, or even social structures.
Like a visual language that they used in all aspects of their lives.
It wasn't just decoration, it was likely a form of visual language woven into all aspects of their lives.
Exactly.
That connection between their everyday art and these monumental geoglyphs feels really significant.
Like a window into their minds, you know?
It suggests a deeply shared cultural understanding.
Yeah, a common set of beliefs and values that they all shared.
Which brings us to the central mystery of our historic road trip.
The big question.
Why did they create the Nazca Lines?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
We know about the early astronomical theories.
Right, the whole largest astronomy book in the world thing.
But what are some of the other leading ideas that have emerged over time?
Well, after the initial astronomical and calendrical theories championed by Kosok and Reiche,
Right.
other compelling interpretations have emerged.
Okay, let's hear them.
One significant perspective, proposed by Johann Reinhard and Anthony Aveni,
Okay.
emphasizes the importance of water rituals and agricultural fertility,
Water rituals, interesting.
given the arid environment.
I mean, water was pretty important to them.
Water was absolutely vital, yeah.
So it would make sense that they would create rituals around it.
And the fact that many of the depicted animals, like hummingbirds and monkeys, are associated with water and rain in other Andean cultures,
Oh, interesting.
lends support to this idea.
So the animals themselves might have had symbolic meaning.
The lines might have been pathways for ritual processions aimed at appealing to deities for much-needed rainfall and successful harvests.
So like walking the lines to bring rain.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense when you consider their profound reliance on agriculture in such a dry region.
It does, yeah.
It does.
They needed those crocs to survive.
The need for water would have been paramount.
Absolutely essential.
What about the idea of them being communication pathways across the landscape?
That's another interesting theory.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Various archaeologists have suggested that the lines could have served as routes for travel
Okay.
or pilgrimage to important sacred sites.
Like a pilgrimage to Mecca, but for the Nazca people?
Yeah, something like that,
Such as the major Nazca settlement of Kawachi?
which was a major ceremonial center for them.
The fact that compacted soil has been found within the lines
Oh, so people were actually walking on them.
indicates that they were indeed walked upon,
So they weren't just for looking at from above.
suggesting a ritualistic or processional use.
Maybe they were walking the lines as part of their rituals.
Perhaps they weren't just meant to be seen from above,
Right.
but also experienced on the ground as part of a ritual journey.
That'd be amazing.
And then we have the more speculative theories, like the ancient astronaut idea,
Oh, yeah, that one.
the one that always gets people talking.
It's a fun one for sure.
Yes, the ancient astronaut theory, popularized by Erich von Däniken,
Eric von Däniken, the alien guy.
suggests a connection to extraterrestrial visitors.
Like aliens came down and made the lines.
with the lines potentially serving as landing strips or signals.
That's the idea.
However,
But here's the thing.
It's important to note that the overwhelming archaeological evidence strongly supports the idea that the Nazca people themselves had the skills and technology to create these geoglyphs.
So no need for aliens, basically.
Researcher Joe Nickel even successfully replicated large figures using only Nazca-era tools.
Wow, he actually did that.
Demonstrating its feasibility.
So it was possible for them to do it.
So, while it's a captivating idea,
It's a fun thought experiment.
it seems that the evidence points to a more earthly explanation for these incredible creations.
I mean, I'm not ruling out aliens completely.
Right.
But it seems unlikely in this case.
It's fascinating how human ingenuity can achieve such monumental feats.
It really is, yeah.
What about more recent research? I recall something about the lines potentially mapping underground water sources.
Oh, yeah. That's a really interesting theory.
Which ties back to their known hydraulic engineering.
Like, they were already experts at finding water.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that they would map it out.
More recent research, including the work of David Johnson and Rosa Lassaponara, has proposed the intriguing possibility that the lines might have actually mapped underground water sources.
So the lines show you where to find water.
This theory aligns remarkably well with the Nazca's known advanced hydraulic engineering, as evidenced by their extensive network of pukios.
It all fits together.
The lines and geometric shapes could have served as a visual representation of where these vital water resources could be found.
It's like a giant map.
A kind of landscape-scale hydrographic map.
That's amazing.
That's a fascinating connection, linking the lines not just to the heavens or spiritual beliefs, but also to their practical knowledge of survival in a harsh environment.
It shows that they were both spiritual and practical.
And I also came across a study suggesting they might have been part of an ancient communication network.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Guiding travelers between valleys.
Like using the lines to find their way.
Yes. A recent study by archaeologists from Yamagata University
Okay.
has put forward this interesting perspective.
I'm listening.
They suggest that the linear geoglyphs might have been used for travel between different valleys.
Okay, so the straight lines were for travel.
Acting as pathways across the otherwise featureless desert.
That makes sense.
Meanwhile, the relief-type figures, the ones depicting animals and other shapes, tended to be located on slopes near ancient pathways.
Oh, they were like landmarks almost.
Potentially serving as markers or signals for communication between different settlements.
Like, hey, we're over here.
So it could have been a multifaceted system with different types of lines serving different purposes.
Yeah, like a multi-purpose network.
But both practical and symbolic.
It's brilliant, really.
It's incredible how many different potential explanations there are.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Each with its own logic and supporting evidence.
It's like a giant puzzle with multiple solutions.
It really highlights the enduring mystery that still surrounds the Nazca Lines.
And that's what keeps it so fascinating.
And keeps researchers so engaged.
There's always something new to discover.
Now, beyond the major figures like the hummingbird or the monkey that we often see in photographs.
Right, the famous ones.
Are there any fascinating little details or trivia about the lines themselves that you came across on our historic road trip?
Oh, absolutely. There's some really interesting specifics.
Okay, hit me.
For example, the width of the lines is surprisingly consistent in most cases, averaging around 33 centimeters.
That's pretty precise.
Although they can range from as narrow as 30 centimeters to as wide as 1.8 meters.
So there's some variation.
Yeah, but not a huge amount.
And the sheer size of some of these figures is mind-boggling.
Oh yeah, they're massive.
With some stretching up to 370 meters in length.
370 meters. That's longer than 3 football fields.
That's longer than several football fields laid end to end.
It's hard to even comprehend how big that is.
What's also remarkable is the total estimated length of all the lines combined.
The lines added together.
Which exceeds a staggering 1,300 kilometers.
1,300 kilometers. That's like the distance from here to, I don't even know.
That's an immense amount of dedicated work etched into the landscape.
They must have been working on this for generations.
That's an incredible amount of effort for a civilization that didn't have the benefit of modern surveying equipment.
It really is, yeah.
And here's another fascinating detail.
Okay, what is it?
Many of the complex animal and geometric figures are formed by a single continuous line that never crosses itself.
Wait, really? That's amazing.
It's like one giant unbroken drawing etched into the desert.
They must have planned this out so carefully.
We also know how they were created by removing the darker pebbles on the surface to reveal the lighter soil underneath.
So like a negative image almost.
And the discovery of wooden stakes at the ends of some lines suggests they might have used simple but effective methods like triangulation.
Triangulation, that's clever.
Or aligning the stakes with natural landmarks to maintain the proportions and straightness of their massive designs.
So they were using basic surveying techniques.
As we mentioned earlier, the fact that researcher Joe Nickell could replicate these using only Nazca-era tools really underscores their ingenuity and mastery of their environment.
It's impressive what they were able to achieve with limited resources.
And in more recent times, modern technology like drones and AI have led to some exciting discoveries.
Oh yeah, technology is changing the game.
Revealing hundreds of previously unknown geoglyphs.
So there are still more lines out there.
Including human-like forms, llamas, and even orcas wielding weapons.
Orcas with weapons. That's interesting.
Which is expanding our understanding of their symbolic language and the variety of their artistic expression.
It's like we're still learning new things about them all the time.
Orcas with weapons. That's a surprising and vivid image.
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder what it all means.
It really highlights that there's still so much to learn and discover about this ancient culture.
They're still full of surprises.
And these ancient markings haven't just stayed in the realm of archaeology, have they?
No, they've definitely gone mainstream.
They've definitely made their way into modern culture.
They're like pop culture icons now.
Capturing the imaginations of people worldwide.
Everyone's fascinated by the Nazca Lines.
So, the Nazca Lines have become a significant element of popular culture.
I see them everywhere.
They appear in numerous books, like Anthony Horowitz's Evil Star.
Oh yeah, I read that one?
And have even featured in video games, such as Illusion of Gaia.
I haven't played that one.
Which includes the iconic Condor geoglyph.
It makes sense. They're very visually striking.
Their enigmatic nature and grand scale lend themselves well to fictional narratives and mysteries.
Yeah, they're full of mystery and intrigue.
Often symbolizing the unknown and the wonders of the ancient world.
They're a reminder that there are still things we don't understand.
They definitely capture the imagination and spark a sense of wonder.
They do, yeah.
And it's not just in fiction, is it?
Nope, they're in art too.
They've also inspired contemporary artists to explore their forms and meanings.
Yeah, artists love the Nazca Lines.
So, the unique forms and enduring mystery of the Nazca Lines have resonated with artists across various disciplines.
It's their simplicity and complexity at the same time.
Exhibitions like Playing with Cultural Expectations, La Chola Poblet, and the Nazca Lines
That sounds interesting.
have directly engaged with the geoglyphs, drawing connections between ancient symbols and contemporary expressions.
Bridging the gap between the past and the present.
Photographers like Edward Ranney have also dedicated significant work to capturing their enigmatic beauty.
Oh, I love his work.
Often from ground level.
That's a different perspective.
Offering a different perspective than the typical aerial views.
Yeah, most people only see them from above.
And highlighting their presence within the vast desert landscape.
It's like they're part of the land itself.
So they continue to be a source of inspiration and fascination.
They definitely are.
Bridging the ancient world with our modern sensibilities.
They're a link to our past.
And of course, they're a major tourist attraction in Peru, drawing visitors from all corners of the globe.
Yeah, everyone wants to see them.
So they are a significant draw for global visitors, eager to witness this ancient wonder firsthand.
It's a bucket list item for many people.
Their designation as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994.
A well-deserved honor.
Further underscores their immense cultural and historical value.
They're a treasure for all humanity.
Recognizing them as a site of universal importance and ensuring their protection for future generations.
It's important to protect them.
Which brings us to the crucial aspect of preservation on our historic road trip.
Yeah, that's a big concern.
These ancient lines are vulnerable to the elements and human activity, aren't they?
Sadly, yes.
Despite the relatively stable, arid climate.
The desert can be a harsh environment.
The Nazca Lines face threats from natural erosion caused by infrequent rainfall and occasional flash floods.
So even the weather can be a threat.
But perhaps more significantly, they are at risk from human activities.
Yeah, people can be the biggest threat.
Including the encroachment of settlements.
As the population grows.
Vandalism.
The people defacing them.
And damage caused by vehicles crossing the desert.
Driving over them.
It's disheartening to think that such a unique and irreplaceable historical site could be damaged or lost.
It would be a tragedy.
What's being done to protect them and ensure their survival for the future?
Well, the Peruvian government and UNESCO have implemented a range of protection measures.
Good.
Access to the site is restricted.
So not just anyone can go there.
And the area is under ongoing monitoring to prevent unauthorized activity.
So they're keeping an eye on things.
Various conservation projects are in place to repair existing damage and prevent further deterioration.
It's good to hear.
As we mentioned earlier, Maria Reiche's lifelong dedication was absolutely vital in raising awareness about the need for their protection.
She was a true champion for the Nazca Lines.
And her legacy continues to inspire these ongoing efforts to safeguard this incredible piece of our past for all of humanity.
It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to protect our cultural heritage.
It is.
So as our historic road trip across the Nazca Plains draws to a close,
It's been a great trip.
what are the key takeaways?
Well, I think the main thing is that the Nazca Lines are still a mystery.
These whispers in the desert etched into the landscape centuries ago
Whispers in the desert, that's a great way to put it.
continue to spark our imagination and challenge our understanding of the past.
To make us think about who we are and where we come from.
From potential astronomical calendars and water rituals to communication networks and artistic expressions,
So many possibilities.
the purpose of these monumental earthworks remains a fascinating debate.
And that's okay, I think.
It's a testament to the ingenuity and worldview of the Nazca people who created these lasting impressions on the landscape.
They were a remarkable people.
A civilization that left behind more questions than answers, but whose artistry continues to captivate us.
They left their mark on the world.
We hope this historic road trip has given you a deeper appreciation for this ancient wonder and the ongoing efforts to preserve it.
I hope so too.
Here's a final thought for you. Considering the recent discoveries of even more geoglyphs using modern technology,
Yeah. Who knows what else is out there?
what other secrets might still be hidden beneath the sands of the Nazca Plains waiting to be revealed?
It's an exciting thought.
Perhaps your own curiosity will lead you to explore some of the resources we mentioned. Wikipedia,
Good old Wikipedia.
Britannica,
A classic.
Smithsonian Magazine,
They always have great articles.
History.com,
A go-to for history buffs.
the UNESCO website,
For the official word,
or even some of the documentaries on YouTube.
there are some great ones out there.
The story of the Nazca Lines is far from over,
It's a story that keeps unfolding.
and there's always more to discover in the vast landscape of history.
So keep exploring, folks.